Good Monday morning. It is yet another Money Mondays here at the Business of Apparel. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about contracts. Now, this isn't exactly a money discussion, but it kind of goes hand in hand. And disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I am not a legal expert. You should definitely talk to a lawyer about any of this if you are looking to go into contracts and understand any of this information in more depth. But okay, last night I was watching a movie, and at the very end of the movie, this woman was offered an NDA contract to essentially like not talk about how shitty things were during the movie for her. And they offered her like a promotion at her job. And once she received it, she was like, I'm not signing this, whatever. And they eventually convinced her. And she said, okay, I want to add X, Y, and Z to this contract, or I'm not signing it. And I want an even bigger promotion than you're offering me. And like, go her, total badass move, right? They agreed to it verbally. Now, there were witnesses in the room. So the verbal agreement, I believe, again, check with your lawyer on all of this stuff, should stand in some way. However, I was like screaming at the TV because then she pulled the contract forward and she signed it. So, when you are being presented with a contract of any kind, if you do not like anything in the contract that is in the typed writing, do not put your signature on that piece of paper. What she should have said was, okay, go change the paperwork based on what we just discussed. I wanted XYZ. You said yes. I wanted this bigger promotion. You said yes. Go change the paperwork and then I will sign it. And one of the reasons that it drives me nuts when people will put their signature on a piece of paper that doesn't include everything that they want in there is because there is sometimes a clause in a lot of different contracts. I will say we have it in our freelancing contracts here at Unmarked Street and the Business of Apparel. It basically says anything that we have discussed prior to now is superseded by this written contract. So if we talked about something that is no longer valid, we want to make sure that we actually captured it in this contract. And contracts should also include clauses that say things about, if we want to make amendments to it, this is how we handle that. If we want to add more hours to our contract, this is how we handle that. Does it need to be in writing? Can we agree to it as a group and just communicate with each other as per this email address or this phone number? All of that needs to be included in your contract. And if it is, now, if there's a clause in there that says, this contract supersedes any other discussions that we have verbally had, all of a sudden, everything that you just verbally agreed to gets nullified because you put your signature on that piece of paper that says this contract supersedes all of that. So I was going nuts last night watching the end of this movie. This poor woman had done all of these amazing things in the movie, right? It's a movie. And she totally deserved to get all of the things that she asked for. They agreed to it. And then she put her signature on paper to say, okay, but I'm agreeing to this old agreement that you wanted. And so this is a short one today. I'm not going to go into a ton. I am not an expert again on contracts, but I will say, if you are ever being presented with a contract, number one, it is your prerogative to read every line of that contract. Don't feel rushed. Don't feel like you need to rush through it because like when you're signing for a mortgage, for example, there are it feels like there's a 10 bazillion different things to sign. When you are sitting down at the table, if you don't understand what a contract says or what a contract means, don't put your signature on it until you do understand. And if you want to read every single word of every single page of that contract before you put your signature on it, you 100% have the right to do that. And if that will make you feel more comfortable before you put your signature on that piece of paper, you should absolutely sit there for the hours that it is going to take you to read through all of that paperwork. And it might seem mundane, it might seem tedious. People in the room might be pressuring you to hurry up. Do not do that. Putting your signature on a piece of paper on a contract is legally binding. And so if you don't know what you're signing and you are not comfortable with what you're signing, you need to take a step back and allow yourself the time to do that. Contracts are really serious business. I want you to understand that when you do put your signature on a piece of paper, it means something legal for you or your company. And so for me, for example, when I get sent NDAs from potential clients or when I get sent contracts in different capacities, I read every word. And if I need an extra few days to make sure that I'm reading through every single clause of that contract and I'm happy with it, I am going to take it and I'm going to let my client know that I need that extra time. If I want to redline something, so that's what it's called when you want to go into a contract and you want to change something, I will send all of my notes over and say, in this clause, I don't like this wording. Can we change it? Sometimes they'll say no. Sometimes they say, no, this is a hard no for us. We absolutely need that wording in our contract. And so that ends up being a negotiation point where we need to either decide, am I okay then signing exactly how it's worded, or am I not? And then we're not going to work together because I'm not going to sign this contract for you. So again, this just kind of triggered something in me last night when I was watching this movie. So I wanted to get this information out there. It is 100% on you as the CEO of your brand, as the owner of your brand, to be responsible enough to understand what it is that you're signing. And if you ask someone to change something in a contract, ask them for the revised paperwork before you put your signature on it, whether it's an e-signature, whether it's in ink or anything. Okay. If you have questions on this, please let me know. I know there's some great information out there, especially on LinkedIn, about what to include in your freelancing contract. If you have questions, again, we're here for you to support however you need. Let me know how this was. If you liked this episode, if you want to hear a little bit more about this kind of stuff, or you want me to go back to talking about money, I'm open to hearing all about that too. Have a great week ahead, and I will talk to you next week.